Big it out west, slang it out west. Go metallic knife, I can shake it out west.
Hello, YouTube. This is my first sort of face to camera video, but I thought I would jump on here and kind of make this a reoccurring thing where I'm basically diving into some of my SoundCloud remixes and explaining how I'm making these productions. Kind of a fun little tutorial. So, yeah, let's jump right in. So, first and foremost, I want to go ahead and talk about the kick and the bass because obviously that is the most important part of any house track. Making sure that you get those two like fundamental aspects right is gonna be kind of like a pivotal aspect in making sure that you have a good track. And it's something that I struggled with the most, like just kind of getting my feet wet in production and figuring out how to get that dialed in. Because that kind of like is the foundation for the rest of the track. So starting off, I have this TSOT kick that I'd found on Splice that I thought sounded really good. I like the top end aspect of it as kind of a punchy, like airy sort of thing going on. I had kind of shaped it down a little bit because it was too big just by itself. Um, like that's pretty techno, and I wasn't trying to go for that. So I'd shortened it down, and then that in combination with the bass, which I will go ahead and play for you real quick. It's got a good it's got a good groove going to it, and kind of looking at the bass by itself. Um, this is what the bass sounds like by itself. So this was just a preset. Let's see what we got. Okay. Okay, so it's also from Splice, just kind of like a subby, nothing too special. And then basically the shaper box is kind of the extra juice that's making it sound the way that it does. So basically what I'm doing is I have a drive going on playing at 1/16 notes. So it's kind of like adding like a flutter to it. And then that in combination with like the filter, you can see it's cutting out those notes. So it kind of adds like that jump. And then the drive distortion is like adding that sort of like it's adding obviously that extra presence, right? Because by itself it feels kind of weak. Um, so that's essentially what's going on with the bass. And then looking at the side chain, super simple. If you're not aware of what Kickstart is, that's kind of like the go-to for getting like a simple result. And some of my newer stuff, I will explain some other ways that I'm sidechaining that I think give a little bit better results. But for like a super simple thing, basically it's just ducking that bass because the bass and the kick obviously share a lot of those frequencies, as you can tell over here. You need to have room for that for that kick to come through when that's happening. So that's basically what the sidechain does. Is you can't have both of those playing at the same time because it'll distort. So anyway, that's the kick and the bass, and then kind of moving on from there, I felt like I had a pretty solid groove, and I wanted to keep this simple. So I'd found the most simple drum layer hi hat with kind of some extra interest going on here with those extra hits, and then a really basic clap. And that's basically all of like the bones of the track. Like you could play that, for however long and people wouldn't get bored. And so I think like making sure that the base fundamentals of what you have in your track, keeping that interesting is going to help it stand out and be something that people are like interested in essentially. And then kind of moving on from there, I've done some double kicks, super simple, and then leading up to the breakdown. Ooh. So that this like kick loop here kind of creates and like it builds that energy that leads into the break. And then the vocal comes in, playing all the way through, and then I just have some simple like downlifters, nothing special at all. These guys to kind of create those transitionary steps to get into the build. But I think the most interesting thing about this track is what I had done with the granulator. So I had taken this, which is essentially the drop synth or sound instrumental from the original. You know, everyone knows that part from the original. And then I had played that in the granulator uh, and changed the grain size so that it basically releases and times perfectly into the build or lack thereof, because it just kind of goes into the drop. But this is basically what that sounds like all
Take
together.
it out west, slang it out west. Go metallic knife, I can shake it out west. Take it out west.
And then that kind of goes on with this vocal here. What I am doing
Take it out west.
is I just have like a really simple echo. So you can kind of hear without that.
Take it out west.
Sounds kind of flat, and then a little bit of reverb.
Take it out.
But when you add that echo
Take
in,
it out.
it's kind of adding a little bit of like echo. I mean, making it a little bit more interesting. And then I have a vocal chop here. Basically, all that happens goes into the second part, copy and paste, exact same thing with this here. I mean, this whole project is super simple, and like it's only 15 tracks, and I think that trying to keep your project simple and use the least amount you possibly can to make the most out of it. Like if you listen to house music, it's not a lot that's going on, and it's the basics that make something sound good. Not that this is like an amazing production, but that's kind of what I've found in like watching others and like looking at other project files is like, oh wow, there really is not a lot going on here, and that is what makes it sound good. Is it's very simple ingredients, but they're just done right. And so I have this vocal here that leads
Take it
in.
out west.
Same vocal literally loops what 4 times up into the build. So right here, actually, let's just do this so you guys can see. So basically, I'm just creating that, playing this once, or excuse me, twice, and then playing the same granulator thing that I had going on. But here I had added a saturator and had done some fun stuff with the shifter. So like you can get some cool effects. I kept it pretty simple. And then that comes out right there. Simple build with this snare loop. Nothing special at all. And then it literally just leads right into the drop.
Take it out west. Slang it out west. Go metallic knife, I can shake.
So that's all that's going on. And then I have a little drum build right here. And then coming back in and then doing the same thing with this vocal aspect. I'd done a little bit of filtration with it. And that's it. So that's it. I mean, it's really nothing super over the top. And yeah, that's basically all I have going on. So I hope you guys enjoyed this production tutorial. I'm gonna keep putting these out there, and keep going after it. I know it's like intimidating and difficult at the start, but you know, just keep grinding. So have a good one. I hope you guys got some insightful information out of this.